Am I going to be someone who is turned away by this roadblock, or am I going to sit with this discomfort, figure out a way around it, and continue to be someone who finishes things? It's happening. It's finally happening.
This episode of my Captain's Vlog is all about the bass. I'll be sharing clips from 3 brand new, never before shared songs with you, showing you the equipment I use to record bass, how I come up with bass lines in the first place, and how I stay organised and motivated working on a big project like this. I've only got till the end of January to get all of my parts recorded for the Obey Robots album, so let's get cracking. I choose to record right here in my home studio, the Launchpad. It means I have as much time to come up with parts as I need, and it also saves a lot of money in studio hire and paying other people. I have a pretty basic but really effective setup here. You really don't need a lot of equipment to make music. Here are my essentials.
Jim Dunlop USA nylon picks, 0.88mm. The Sansamp bass driver DI. The Focusrite Claret. I opted for the Focusrite Claret because I wanted 4 XLR inputs, but the Focusrite Scarlett with 2 inputs is perfectly great. A pair of headphones, and these are the Beyerdynamic DT770s. I just like these because they're really comfortable and I can keep my big glasses on when I'm recording. And a frickin' bass! And I was going to say a studio dog is optional, but for me it's absolutely essential.
That's not quite everything, of course. I also need instrument cables, plus there's a small matter of computer software and a computer. I record with Logic Pro on an iMac, but GarageBand is great on a Mac or an iPad, and when I used to have a PC, I got on really well with Cubase. Audacity is free cross-platform software, and I've heard great things about Ableton and Reaper as well. If you're interested in recording from home, it's best to just decide what your budget is, and then do some research online to find what suits you. YouTube tutorials are the first place I go when I don't know how to do something. And there are some excellent music production courses available on Skillshare. There's a link in the description box below for a free month's trial or 40% off your first year. Another key piece of equipment I'd be lost without is this recording notebook, where I keep notes of all the settings I use to create the sounds that I like the best. Once I got a bass sound I was happy with, I wrote it in here so that every time I set up to record, I have somewhere to start from. I always keep a log of what I've done so that I can recreate it later if I need to or want to.
One of the great benefits of recording from home is that I can start whenever I like. And one of the drawbacks of recording from home is that I can start whenever I like.
So how am I going to keep this project organised and keep motivated to reach this slightly scary deadline of the end of January?
Prep is so important. I could have launched right into this, trying to record everything and just get it done. But the more I do complicated, long projects like this, the more I realise it's a marathon and not a sprint. So time spent planning is always well spent. I find whiteboards really motivating. There's a lot of empty squares up there for me to deal with, and it's good to be able to see that on my wall, not in the computer. Something I'm trying to do, having just read the book Eat That Frog, is to start work on the most complicated one first. So I'm going to work on a song called 1 in 1,000. It's a little bit longer than some of the other songs. There's a lot more arranging to do on it, and it's tempting to leave that to the end, but I don't think that's the best thing at all.
Too much planning threatens to become procrastination, so it's time to get started. But first,
I have trepidation about filming this process. I've never filmed this stuff before, or if I have, I've never shared it. And my trepidation comes from a film. I'm not going to name the artist because I do really like this artist, but I watched this film where this artist was making up songs. And to be honest, I thought the songs they were making up sucked. And I wondered if they sucked, in my opinion, because they were being filmed and the filming changed the results. But hey, let's give it a try. Oh, and in the interest of honesty, I have slightly modified my behaviour already, because if I wasn't filming today, I would almost certainly be wearing my dressing gown. Hang on a sec. When I'm writing bass parts, I tend to loop around a section, a verse or a chorus or whatever section, and play around until I figure it out. Occasionally I do think it would be useful to learn more music theory, but I haven't got around to it yet and it hasn't held me back. I like being unfettered by how things should be done, though I also do like learning more about everything I do, so at some point I will learn more. But today, I'm just going to get on with it. I like parts to develop over the space that they're in. That's very pleasing to me.
Hang on. I wouldn't want you to think it's as easy and effortless as that clip makes out, though.
Okay. I know what I want to happen where, but I don't know the notes, but I'll figure it out. Oh, it's good to be doing this. So true about momentum. Once you actually get started, it's fine. It just took me several hours today to persuade myself, but I was having a sad day, and that happens. But I can have a sad day and also record some bass, which is what I need to do. Saving all of this. Now I'm going to go back around and figure out what the actual notes are for each individual section. Then I can home in on the actual bass part, and then I can practice, and then I can record it. Okay. What did I do for the verse? My rule is, if it doesn't add something to the song, then don't put it in. But I'm not ready yet to draw the curtain. I don't like to play boring bass lines that don't do anything, but there's a fine line between being interesting and melodic and developing a part and being a clever arse. So what I'm trying to do here is make the chorus interesting, but not take away from the vocals, not take away from the guitar. Simplicity can be very beautiful. Root notes can be perfectly enough. Plus there's 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 choruses to develop this part across, so don't need to get there in the first one. Finish this song. Okay, this has got a bit complicated, but it's okay. I've got a middle part. There's 2 separate parts to the middle part. I've finally figured out which way round the bits need to go. It's very hard to explain this stuff in words. I don't need this many takes, and it's... I hate to think... Oh no, it's 10 to 6, that's not too bad. That is not too bad at all. End of bass day 1 report. I had a great time, I love playing the bass. I don't play the bass enough, and I want to play it more. Luckily, I've got lots of songs to play bass on. That's one of the most complex songs, so I'm not surprised it took me a few hours to do it. But it didn't take that long. I'm not sure what time I started. I normally keep a track of things like that so that I can tell myself it's not that hard in future when I get freaked out and I don't want to play, or I think I can't do it and all of those things. Ugh. Hello, brain. I really enjoyed that. It's fun making up music, isn't it? Now, of course, I can half cross off 1 in 1,000 bass, and when it's edited, I can do the full cross, but not yet.
Well, I'm all wrapped up in my leopard print blankie, ready to edit some bass. This is a job it's easy to put off, but I don't have time to put that off. Plan is record as many tracks as I can in a day edit the next morning. I have in the past left things to the end. And for my album Direction of Travel, I have vivid memories of sitting in the back of a transit van on tour, editing my audio files before sending them to Dan Austin to mix the record. And that was just for vocals. So, no time to delay. Let's get on. This is not a Logic tutorial, but I am showing you how I do things. So this is how I do things. That's fine. Okay, now I am going to listen to it all the way through and then I'm going to send it to Rat. One down, lots to go.
Now hold up. It's not as simple as writing a list of songs on a whiteboard and then just ticking these things off. I'm very comfortable on the bass. In fact, I'd say that next to vocals, it's my primary instrument. It's certainly my favourite instrument to play and the one I've had the most professional experience of playing. And I don't know if this is because I'm recording alone, I'm recording from home, but I feel all the same pressures that anyone making anything does. I start thinking I can't do it, I'm no good at it, what's the point of doing it, who do I think I am, all those kinds of things. Quite regularly. And when I feel that way, I start to procrastinate. And sometimes I find it hard to stop in that fog of procrastination and ask, why am I scrolling on this thing, looking at this thing, checking this thing again? Part of it is I've been having a problem with a song called Old Kindnesses. I remember this one well because I started working on my parts for it the day after my second Moderna COVID jab and I wasn't feeling at all well. I spent the day lying on the sofa in the living room with a blanket on, with a couple of dogs on my feet and just started playing around with this thing and it turned out pretty weird, which I love, and I was very, very specific about the drum programming on this one. So when I sent this demo through to my remote drummer Max, I asked him to match the beats in the verse exactly. And he did, and it sounds brilliant, but it's a bit of a head f*** on the bass. So yesterday I got the choruses done and I'm really happy with those and I started trying to figure out the verses. And I just hit a brick wall with it, whether it's because I was tired or because it's complicated or both. And then this morning I had a light bulb moment. Program the bass. Hello! So I went downstairs for a crumpet break and I'm back. And I've had my crumpets and I've programmed the part and now I can carry on and finish this song. It's Wednesday the 12th now, so it's day 7 of my 19 days. I think I'm on top of this. I'm working really hard. I am keeping pretty focused apart from this morning. I am keeping really focused. I'm enjoying ticking those little boxes and because there's an end goal, because there's those days in the studio booked, I know that all I have to do is keep going and I will get there. Whether I do this or not, time will march forward and I would rather time marched forward and I have an album to show for it. So I'm very, very motivated to get this done and I suppose I just have to remember there's always going to be stumbling blocks and for me they're mostly of the mental variety, but also I am not alone. Everyone who makes things feels this way sometimes and really it's just a test of my character, so there's nothing for it but to keep going. P.S. 2 jumpers in the studio today because I am too much of a cheapskate to turn the central heating on. When I was younger, I used to think it mattered if the person I was with liked Marmite or not, and I would always prefer them to like Marmite so that they understood me more. But over the years, I've realised it's way better if they don't like Marmite, because then the Marmite is all mine. More life hacks for you very soon. Here's what I programmed just before my crumpet break. This is really going to help me now because all I have to do is learn this on the bass and then record it in and then this song is complete. What I'm trying to do is underpin the dreaminess in Rat's guitar so the bass doesn't need to be hopping around all over the place or being really showy, but as I'd programmed that quite audible drum pattern, I didn't want to leave that going all by itself. For me the bass is the glue that holds the drums and the rest of everything together. So my aim with arrangements is always to make sure that no part sounds like it's just been stuck on randomly. And I like the analogy of building a house. The foundations need to be strong, and then the walls need to be strong. Then you can put a roof on top, and then you can decorate. So at this point of recording, I'm not even thinking about what kind of wallpaper we're going to use or what the lampshades are going to look like. It's done. Song 6? No, 5? No, 6? 6! 6 out of 7 done. Yes! I've achieved something. Yay!
And thank goodness for this little friend to make me go on a refreshing walk around my local woods. Before I had dogs, I would stay indoors for days on end staring at my screen, making music and videos. So I'm very thankful for Albie, for this gorgeous crisp day, and for the beauty of King's Weston Estate, Bristol. Just 10 minutes from the Launchpad. We're nearly there though, so back to work. Stick with me, we can do this.
It's the 7th song of 7 on the 7th day of bass recording, and I'm nearly finished. I was delighted to see that when I opened the project I had already written the bass line for this one and quite unwittingly put it at the end of my list. It's perfect because I'm exhausted and all I have to do is relearn the part and play it in. This song is notable as being the only one on the album so far to have electronic drums programmed by me, and after I programmed those drums I also programmed in a bass line. It's really easy to get stuck in patterns on instruments of the kinds of things you normally play, so if you approach the instrument a different way, in this case programming the bass instead of just playing something that was comfortable, then you end up with something quite different. I'm so tired. What do you think of the song, Albie? Is it the best thing you've ever heard? What do you think of my bass line, Albie?
We did it! Bass is done! And as a thank you for watching this video, here's an extra song clip just for you. Like me, you suffer from a regular case of the old inner critic, I made this video to help. And if you haven't seen episode 1 of my Captain's vlog yet, well, here's a playlist for you. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel for next week's episode, featuring another chat with Rat.